how are you handling this new kind of era of, quote unquote amateur athletics, which is really no longer amateur? I mean, you've been around for over 40 years. You've seen every transition. You've seen every change to the game across the whole landscape. How are you reacting now to the NIL, the transfer portal, maybe some of the expectations of families, parents, recruits that you bring on campus now? I'm sure that's changed a lot from when you first started.
Yeah, and that's okay. I've had transfers even in the beginning. If guys weren't playing, I don't mind that they want to transfer. Sometimes it doesn't. We have to bring in 10 or 11. I try to bring in 9 players. That way I only have maybe one unhappy or two.
Right.
But when you have 13, you're going to have 4 or 5 unhappy players. So I try to keep it at 10 or 9. I don't mind that they want to transfer if they're not playing. That's fine. I can give you an example. Michael Carter-Williams wasn't playing as a freshman, but he knew his sophomore year he was going to start. So even though he was unhappy, his mother was a little unhappy, they saw the light. And he had a great sophomore year, got drafted in the top 10 in the NBA. So that worked. But if you're not going to play, then I think you have to look at the portal. I'm good with that. We get calls every day if we want a kid. So, I mean, we had a good recruiting year, good class, but if we needed players right now, we could get 2 or 3 players tomorrow because kids are trying to come up to bigger programs or better programs or where they can have more of an impact. So, I mean, we can work with that. That's fine. I'm more worried about the NIL for the future of the game. These collectives are going to get together. There's going to be a pot of money in there, and it's going to be handed out. And so you're going to know if you go to this school, this right tackle got this amount of money.
Yep. That's happening now. It's
right
wild.
Now. And it's big. I mean, I'm not naive. We got a recruiting class this year, which is pretty good, 50 to 100 guys, all in that rating, top 15. We didn't even talk about NIL. But in the future, that's what you'll have to talk about. And I'm worried about it. I don't think it's good for the game. If you could get that NIL money, ideally, this is what you got in the community, and the kid got 40, 50,000, it'd be great.
Yeah.
My son was well known, so Buddy got a lot of money, probably $100,000 some dollars. Jimmy, who just came here, got like 30 because nobody knew who he was, and so that's the way it's supposed to work. But if you see that in the future, and if you got 4 kids not getting any money and 2 or 3 kids getting a lot of money, as a coach, you need to help those other kids. You can't do it. You can't do it, but you need to have somebody help those guys with NIL. It's just not fair. Yep. People don't realize we get food every day, and so we give our players a check for $1,400 a month, cash. They have to buy some food, but we give them food. And now next year they're going to get another $6,000 in academic support.
Right.
Supreme Court decision. Yep. So kids today are getting a pretty good amount of money to go to college and play basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a fascinating, such a fascinating landscape. And one of the last things I'll ask you before I let you go. So a recruit comes on campus. I'd be very curious. I was recruited at a high school. I had the coaches sit in my office. I had Tyrone Willingham, from the head coach of Notre Dame, come watch me play high school basketball. And I promise you, you didn't miss anything. You didn't miss out on me, trust me. But, so the recruiting process, I'm very familiar with and went through it. My brothers went through it. But if I come in today's day and age, I come to Syracuse, you're recruiting me to join your basketball team. Like, what is your message that you want your program to be known for, both to the athlete, to the kid, but also to the parents? Like, what are the expectations? What's the expectations of the parents? What's the expectations of the child? How demanding is it going to be? Like, what do you tolerate? What don't you tolerate? Like, what do you want the culture of Syracuse basketball to be known as? I mean, God, you've built it for over 40 years. So what, in your mind, what do you want it to be known as?
I want them to know they're going to come here. They're going to be successful. We've been successful. We've been in the NCAA. We've been in the Sweet 16 22 times. So we're going to be successful. You will help us be successful or more successful. We've got great facilities. You're going to get a great education. If you're here 1 or 2 years and you can get out and go to the NBA, that's great. We'll help you. If you can't, we want you here the whole time. We're going to give you all the support you need. Some kids need a lot of academic support. Some kids need none. They don't ever need it. They can do it on their own. But most kids need some help. We have a full-time academic person right down the hall. We've got a great strength and conditioning program. Everybody has all that. But the main thing is they want to know how much they're going to play, and they want to know, if you're going to have a good team, they want to be part of that. And now you have to talk a little bit about the NIL, and that there's opportunities. We're the only game in town, so there's NIL opportunities for you. We have guys already getting NIL money, so it's not new. So you go through all that, you talk about all that, but mainly you're selling the relationship you have, your assistant coaches have with the player and the family. My wife's heavily involved in recruiting. We host all the recruits at our house. We have our players over there 5 or 6 times a year to kind of build that team feeling, that family feeling. And we have 30, 40 people that played here, alumni, come back all the time. And we have 3 assistant coaches, our video guy, who all went to Syracuse. So we have a culture about family in Syracuse. That's what we have. And it's what supported us and kept us going for 46 years, that culture. And, we want you here. And every kid is concerned about all that stuff, but he really wants to know, how much am I going to play, and do I fit into your system, and are we going to win? We have guys around us that are going to win. That's what it's all about.